The song is called Phoenix, and if you hear through the chorus, he mainly, talks about how his situation is, and he relates that to, a cigarette, his life not being ashed in a long time. How all this Snapchat filters is black and white, that's also ash. So it's like, connecting a lot of these ideas that led right back to rebirth, and a lot of things where he was already. Dang. I wish it wasn't so long to come around, but. Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Joe.
So in that, I don't know if you heard it, but my man's, there was like a theme in the hook that he wrote. It was cigarette, Phoenix, fire. All these things are relatable. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, right? We all understand why these things are. But the way he did it, cigarette burned down to the filter. My life ain't been ashed in a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you understand how cigarettes work, how smoking works, how fire works, you hear that and be like, huh, that's nice, that's good, And so when you're writing, you can think about ways that you can bring imagery and themes into, what you're crafting, and it'd be even that more relatable to the listener, because hella people get that, So like when you're in the songwriting process and you say, think about what you want people to take away from it, but also think about cool ways that you can bring, this to the table, like whatever you want to talk about, because that song is heavy. Like they're talking about like hella, like damn, bro, my life is fucked up for me right now, But the way that they doing it, like you get reborn again, like it's like, we go through all this, like there's tomorrow, like and it's beautiful. It's fun, beautiful. I understand why he played it, but it's like you want to bring people along in the like coolest way, smoothest way as possible. So that's like a good example of that with them lyrics.
So.
You got to work?
Yeah.
I feel like when
No,
I left, we was talking about vowel sounds.
We was.
Yeah, we love vowels.
So I talked about how, music is a universal language.
Okay.
And, you can listen to songs, not even know what they saying, and be like, damn, that's a good ass song. And a lot of that has to do with like the word choice and the things that stand out to you when you're listening to them, and stuff like that. That's what I did while you was gone. We talked about the A's, the E's, the I's, the O's, the U's, and sometimes why.
Okay.
Is it okay if I go back there for just like 5 seconds?
Do it. I figured you wanted something.
Yeah.
Had something to say.
Cause I had to pay for my parking, sorry. But that's the most important thing, like when it comes to like, when you're writing, I think a lot of songs start off, before they have words, they have mumbles that are vowel sounds. So can you go to the beat?
I'm still working on the beat.
Yeah, just. Oh, okay, ain't no legal. I'm trying to think of if I was like a SoundCloud rapper. I would do something like that's true for all pop records too. Like, I've been trying to think of a pop record this whole time, and the only one that's coming in my head is, I don't even know who it is, but it goes,
Britney, that's Britney.
It's Britney Spears, and all she says is, oh.
Yeah, it's
Literally
fire.
is.
That's
No
the
word.
word. This is the thing. About that song. There's a whole hook before that, right? It's like, we gon' dance until the world ends. Nobody stopping, everyone dancing, and we dance until the world ends. That's cool.
Would I consider that
But after that,
like a
nigga?
pre-chorus?
After
is what I
that,
would call
nigga,
it.
whoa, fire.
But I think literally like any song you can, like if you like were to like take it down to just like the sounds that you're hearing, you can take out the words most times and it can just be vowel sounds. I'm trying to think of what's the like popular hip hop?
Every Young Thug song.
Every Young Thug
Every
song.
Young Thug
Yeah.
song. You
Definitely.
know this man doesn't sit there right now with words.
Yeah.
Like, and then he writes words.
But the,
I love Young Thug.
Young Thug is probably the perfect example for a songwriting class. And it's crazy because I'm pretty sure that he doesn't write anything down. But just in terms of like melody, rhythm, and then when it comes to like using vowel sounds to the, you know what I'm saying, to the fullest potential, like that's something that I feel like is very, it's slept on. Like I would have never known that had I not been in that session when I was 18. I would have never have heard that. And that's something that I always tell people, like, even us, when we're working on music, sometimes like we might be working on a hook. Cause that's where this vowel thing really comes in handy. Working on hooks, like sometimes your hook might be wordy. We have a lot to say, you know what I'm saying? We people, we humans, we have a lot to say. But I think limiting yourself, and I won't even say limited because I don't feel limited by it, but just keeping that in mind while you're writing, that the hook, like the vowel sound is what hooks people into something. Like, and it's crazy because it's like, it feels so small, but it's really so important. The first hook that I wrote, once I found this out, once I left that session, was Butter off Comfort.
Really?
Wake up every day, feel good, in the hood, like, and I just ran with it. So every hook that I did after that, like, I would like subconsciously like think of it, like making sure that the vowel, because the vowel is what catches people. You just walked in, so I can use your song as an example. On Way Out, which is my favorite. It's one of my favorite hooks, damn near ever. But let's just pull it up. This is cool. We got the internet. We can do anything.
The world has changed.
Okay, the internet is slow. You know what I'm saying? The internet is slow.
We ain't got the best.
But it was a quick example just about the vowel sounds. Like it went. I'm trying to think of how did hook start? On Way Out. And when she was writing that at my house, she went into the studio and she mumbled some words, but it had the same, like she had that. So the vowel sounds are the part that she all she had to do was fill in lyrics to match the vowel sounds. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to communicate. All right, now we get vowel sound hooks. Like, trust me, you don't need with nothing else. Boom, that. That was just a man of his vowels. Where should we go from here? All right, so the things.
Still want to do the writing thing, but she's here now.
No, we gotta finish this
No, we
first
gotta finish
before we
this.
do that. That's what we gonna do. Yeah, I guess we can keep going. You was talking about relatability. Lyric, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So when you're making a song, right? You making a song. right? Okay. So if you write something down on that piece of paper, right? Who is that for? You making a song. You write something down on that piece of paper, it's a song lyric. Who's that song for? Right? Your audience, right? Know your audience, okay? When you starting out, you gotta find it. You know, it's not just there for you. You know, they don't just come up like, hey man, I like your music, bro. That's not how it works. You know? So you go to all these places, you know, you form, you know, you get your identity, you know, you find out who you are as an artist, you know, and people understand that and they rock with you. You know, they look for it. You know, they look forward to hearing whatever you have to say. Right? So with that in mind, you have to have your audience in mind whenever you're writing anything, you know, because it's to be understood, it's to be digested by people, it's to be, you know, it's theirs more than it is yours, really, when you think about it, you know. So, the words that you write on the paper, you know, have to be understood. Like whatever you think good writing is, like how we were talking earlier about cadences and flows and melodies and punchlines and all of that, right? Whatever you want to get across to people, you know, you gotta have that. You know, that's gotta be like your first step. You know, like if I was writing and you listening to my song, right? And I got a whole song about, let's see what I make a song about. I made this whole song about how I chew ice, right? Whole song, right? Have you chewed ice before? Yeah? What? So you know what that's like, right? Have y'all chewed ice before? Yeah? So y'all know what it's like, right? So with that, I can make a whole song about chewing ice because everybody understands they've all been there before. You know, if I want to make a line about it, you know, that'll go over easy because everybody's done it before. Like little things like that push your music a lot further because everyone can understand. You know, like there's this I've been doing this myself, like studying some of my favorite artists and trying to see why, you know, MF Doom and Lil Wayne, right? They both pretty much do the same thing. Like they rap the same way. It's like blah blah blah, like blah blah blah. You know, do like do, you know. And I'm like, damn, that shit's fire. You know, like them niggas is good at rapping to me. You know, but the reason why Wayne is where he's at and MF Doom is like, you know, in the corner somewhere, is because more people can understand what Wayne is talking about than MF Doom. You know, like the relatability factor is very important when you want to have a career as an artist. You know, like what's that shit? Bruno Mars, right? Bruno Mars, right? This nigga 24 karat gold, right? 24 karat gold, right? What's that shit? Uptown Funk. Uptown Funk. Sorry, Uptown Funk. That motherfucker was like,
Yeah, this is the perfect example of what I've been preaching this whole time. You don't know the words, you know the vowel sounds.
yeah. The police in the fire. So the reason why that song is relatable is because you hear him, like the emotion is clear. You know, you see that he woke up and had a great day. He woke up and was like, bruh, I feel amazing right now. And when you can get that emotion across to other people, you know, it can, like they put that song on when they want to feel good too. You know, like 'cause you captured that feeling, that vibe entirely. You know, so when you think about things being relatable, if you're talking about rap, you want to be understood. You know, like you don't want to have a line that you think is the greatest line in the world, and only like people who live on your block understand why that's amazing. You know, it's fun, you know, to like, you can like really like work on technique with that. You don't have a question, you would change me real quick.
Sort of.
You
Well,
do?
yeah, I do.
What's up? Please
So
ask.
for the example that you just used, couldn't it appeal to certain demographics in unique ways? So for example, I think what makes me like that song is not just because it has a lot of energy, but because it kind of reminds me of like 70s or like old school music, so the sound is unique to me.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age where it's unlike other sounds. So it's almost like you went
Definitely.
backwards
Yeah.
and dipped into
And-
other influences.
Yeah.
Okay. You're absolutely correct. And I was hoping that he would say this because he was talking about relatability in the lyrics. But I think what's interesting about that song that makes that song like so poppin' is that the relatability of that for me is in the music. It's not really in the lyrics. It's in like that's a very familiar bass line. That's a very familiar track. So it's relatable. Yeah, it's Bruno Mars. Come on, we don't gotta talk about that now. But I think relatability is not limited to lyrics. Like relatability can be just in the production even. Like, and I think that's something that they do a great job of. Like Bruno Mars, like their whole thing, or at least on the last album, was a sense of nostalgia that was just like it was just like kind of reviving these times from the 80s and 90s and things like that. Like the single after that was like the
90s.
super 90s song,
Yeah.
like, and it was literally just
Yeah.
like it's already established that you like this because this was successful in the 80s. It's already established that you like this because this was successful in the 90s. So there's a relatability to it.
Also with that, yes, you are 100% correct. And with that, so there's a lot of ad agencies, when they're trying to sell you a product, the thing that they try to use is your nostalgia, like your experience, the things that you love already, you know? Because if you already love it and I bring it to you, I don't gotta tell you why you like it, you know? So that's like with music, like with Bruno Mars. Yes? No, please.
So, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off mid statement, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard artists say, I didn't know that it would have that type of reaction, and so they're just sharing their particular individual story, whether it's romantic or whatever the case may have been. And it's not necessarily intentional, but they're just sharing a message through their song, and it touches a lot of people, and it just so happens that we have, as humans, a lot of shared experiences.
Yes.
So I guess my point is not necessarily intentional always, but it's one of the byproducts of being an artist and making this product, but that it does have an unexpected reaction where it touches people on an emotional level.
Definitely. So what I was saying was about ad agencies. That had nothing to do with Bruno Mars or Mark Ronson produced it. Like, it had nothing to do with them. I'm just saying, when you are bringing to someone something that they are supposed to like, you know, easiest way to do it is with something that they already like. You know, like that's with anything. You know, but with music, and the reason why Bruno Mars is so successful, I think, is because that comes across as genuine. You know, like you hear Bruno Mars and it's like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like at the Super Bowl, when he performed, you know, like he hit the James Brown shuffle, like I ain't never seen nobody other than James Brown do that. It's like you really actually care about, you know, the things that you're bringing to the table. So, yeah, so to wrap it up, you want to be relatable, be aware of your audience, you know what I'm saying? Understand your audience, you know, think about the things that you went through, the things that you like, that other people like. You know, the first song that I ever made, it was a Paramore sample. It was, because I really like Paramore, and I wanted like people to know, like, nah, nigga, that's my shit. Like, I'm gonna rap over this. Like, you know, like just things that make you you, that other people can identify with and relate to too. Like, that's very important when you have a career, when you get to make music. You know, like it's very important to always share with people your past, your history, and they've gone through a lot of the same things too, like chewing ice. You know, so that's what I had to say. anybody have any questions about anything at all? You can ask what was it?
Yeah, I kind of want to know, like, in like trying to get more serious about like a practice of like rapping or producing or things like that. I feel like in watching like interviews of rappers and stuff, you hear a lot about people studying people they like or going back through and like becoming a creator, not just a fan. So I was wondering, like, when you guys first started out, like, what things did you learn, or like looking back on that now, what things did you have to pass on to other people that are trying to start, as far as like bringing like a technical practice to like writing well, studying art, studying lyrics, like putting in the making ideas happen, stuff like that.
So when you first start out, no matter who you are, you're gonna sound exactly like your influences. Like that's kind of just how things work, because you don't have your own voice yet, you know. So you're doing studying these artists, you know, like putting that forth. And so I would say starting out, just study techniques. Like, do you rap, sing, what do you do?
Like rap.
Rap?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so rap, you should study techniques of artists, try to see why this is working, what about it do you like the most. It could be wordplay, it could be beat choice, it can be melody, all of these things, you know, like just try to understand, like if you can explain to me why, why this song is good in your mind, you know, that's very important. Just like the more tools that you have to use in creating music, the better. Like when I first started writing, I listened to everything that I ever heard anyone say was the best so-and-so ever. Like you know what I'm saying, whatever type of music it was, like I just listened to it because I wanted to understand it, you know? And it's like the more techniques you have, the more tools you have to play with, you can eventually find yourself through all of that. You know, like you always gotta push forward. But when you first start out, you're gonna sound like whoever you like. You know, like when I first started rapping, I sounded like Eminem. Like I really did. Like, well, hella like deadpan. You know, like Eminem yelled, he was a lot faster. Like if you slowed it down, that would have been me. And I, you know, I'm not Eminem. I don't really like his music now either. But that's who I was. That's where I was at. And like you grow from it. Like you learn and you continue. So like just keep studying, and you'll find yourself. You know, like that's the most important thing. I would say.
Don't get alarmed, man.
Yeah.
I think also be specific with your studying. So,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? For me, like a lot of times I'll get like he was talking about rap, lyrics and rap and melody and stuff, but you can also think about delivery. You know what I'm saying?
True.
What about what they did was tight? Like they might
Good
say
job.
they might say the word food, but they might say it really dope.
Yeah.
They might have enunciated the D a lot. They might have not even said the D. They might have said a word with an S, but they might have threw off the S so you didn't even hear the S. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that. There's just like a lot of cool things you can learn.
What about for like production specifically? Like,
I copied a lot of stuff. No, seriously. Like remake beats,
yeah.
then remake another one, then remake another one. Learn the snap. Why did they pick a tight snare? Now maybe I know what tight snare will pick. You know what I'm saying? That I don't do that anymore, but I did that.
Me starting off, I learned literally everything.
Also, people that know stuff, they can tell you stuff. That, you know.
YouTube, make sure you practicing all the
YouTube.
time.
Sure.
Solid, do you have any like tips for like keys specifically? Like,
Let's take a brief intermission.
oh, true.
That's what I've been trying to do.
Oh wait, I didn't set
I
this
feel
up.
like, yeah, do you think? I felt like it was gonna happen, but we got a lot to talk about. So, let's get there. Don't forget it. Write it down. You know, but
Voice memo.
yeah,
Hey, always remember voice memos are your best friend.
keys. I can talk to you about keys because I am not great at keys. But I know how to play some chords, and it was interesting that she was talking about in college because that's where I learned how to do a lot of stuff. YouTube. I figured I had time since they set it up. Now we can actually talk about it. I can give you the ultimate cheat. The ultimate cheat. I can tell you exactly.
Be careful giving out the ultimate cheat.
Look, bro. I know math. I look at the piano like math. So I press one key, okay? And what I learned in college is that, so I've always been like, y'all seen Drumline before? I used to be in piano lessons when I was a kid, and I would memorize what my piano teacher did, and then I would go back the next week and just play it exactly as he played it, and pretend like I could read, but I never learned how to read music.
Damn, nigga, you can.
So it caught up, like, after like 3 years of being in piano, and he played something that I couldn't, like, I had to read it to play it. It was like one of those things. And then I was just like, yeah, I quit. I just had to quit. I was like 10, and I was like very defeated. But as I got back into music, I learned how to make like minor chords and major chords, and I feel like if you learn that, you can play anything based off of that.
You talking about when you was a kid?
Bro,
When you was
so
when
when I'm yes, when I was
nigga, that's Wolfgang. What was it? Oh man, come on.
So for a minor chord, the equation that I learned was if you count the semitones in between the notes, you can play a minor chord. If you count the semitones in between notes, you can play a major chord. So what I do is I press any key on the piano. And if you want to play a minor chord, I can't believe I'm telling you. If you want to play a minor chord, you count 3 semitones up. You go 1, 2, 3, boom, play that one. Then you go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, play that. That's a minor chord. If you want to get jazzy and play like 7s and 9s like she was talking about, just keep doing it. Count 3 up, 1, 2, 3, boom, play that. Count 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you go 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4 over that whole piano, you will have a crazy minor chord. If you go for a major chord, you do the exact opposite. If you go any note, you press C and you count 4 up, you'll be at E. If you count 3 up from there, you'll be at where you at? G. And that's a C major chord. So if you go 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, if I was at a piano, I could really play this for you.
So when you started, you would just build your chords from scratch, or like you would like learn the chords and then break them down and make it music?
I don't know music theory. So when I'm at a piano, I'm kind of just fidgeting around to what I think sounds good. I'm not going like, this is the C dominant, so let me play the E in the left. Like, I don't know all of that. I know what the notes are, but I kind of just go completely by ear. And a lot of times when I'm coming up with chord progressions, they are very simple. It might like, it's a 4-chord chord progression or something like that, and I'll just write the song off of that, and usually let my producers like kind of take it and make it sound all jazzy and pretty and stuff. But with the very basics, like I made beats for years and years and years just off knowing that if you do 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, that you have a minor ninth. And if you do 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, you have a major ninth chord. And those are very like, for someone who doesn't know music theory, like those are very good chords. Like you might listen to it and be like, oh, this is a Pharrell song, just playing one chord. Like, this might be all he knows too. So that's the biggest cheat that I feel like that I have to offer. Cause that's what yeah. Wait until we hear it. Wait until we hear it.